Hello and Assalamu alaikum everyone. A very warm welcome to the Strategic Business Leader webinar to Success for Exams in September 2022. And I am your tutor, Kashif Kamran. Just let me take a quick look inside my profile before starting the webinar. I am Kashif Kamran, a fellow chartered certified accountant. It's been 15 years since I'm teaching the ACCA qualification, with my core specialization lying in the AA, AAA, and the SBL paper. I am the owner and heads the Kashif Kamran digital learning platform. I'm also associated with BAC, which is a gold approved learning provider of ACCA in Pakistan and the Civic College in India. In terms of my SBL webinar, this is the third one I'm conducting for September 22. Prior to this, I've conducted two webinars, one in December 21 and one in June 22. And I'm also a registered mentor for Oxford Brookes University research projects. Now, with that tutor profile, you can follow me on the social media. These are all possible links where you can interact with me over the social media. Particularly, there are some very important links, which is my dedicated Facebook page for SBL, which is SBL by KK, and my YouTube channel where most of the stuff gets uploaded. And apart from that, you can contact me on my WhatsApp number given at the bottom of the screen. For any query or issue, you can also email me at a dedicated email ID, splkashifkamran@gmail.com. Okay, now moving on and starting directly with the SBL webinar to success day 1. And let's see what is in store today and what will you be getting over the next 3 days of this webinar. This webinar is stretch on 3 days. Now, we all know exams are just a week away. Today is Monday, the 29th of August, and you have exam coming up on the 6th of September, which is Tuesday. So it's just like a week time, and it is a very, very critical time where every day and every tip and every technique at this point in time will be valuable. Now, on the first day, which is today, I will be speaking about how would you be approaching SBL with a week away. Secondly, any recent updates which you should be familiar with and their likely impact on your upcoming exams. The key resource library, which you can utilize for the next 7 days. And finally, some key tips. On the day 2 and day 3, which is on the 30th of August and the 31st of August, I'll be just looking into the March-June 22 paper, the latest one, with the examiner report. And it's about how you read, how you plan, how you write. It's about the marking scheme. It's about the do's and don'ts. Those 2 days on the March-June 22 exam will change the way you deal with paper and will change the way you attack the paper and you write the paper. So you will get some very motivational tips, some very important techniques whereby you can improve the quality threshold of your answer in SBL. So this is the agenda for the 3 days right in front of your screen. Now, moving into the first day and moving into the webinar to success and looking at the objective, pass rate, and paper format quickly before we come to the main agenda, because many students will be using this webinar on a self-study basis. So such things are extremely important. Now, in terms of syllabus, you know, there are 8 syllabus areas which makes up the SBL paper. But in terms of these 8 syllabus areas, if you have looked at the past papers, the recent past papers from September 18 onwards, from where the SBL journey had started from September 18, examiner has focused a lot on the area of risk. I believe risk is a very regular area and a very regularly examined area. And as a student, you should be very good in this particular area, particularly about the risk management process, particularly about the TARA model, the transfer, acceptance, reduction, avoidance. You should be very sound on the risk management strategies, which is the TARA model. You should be very sound on what is a risk management model, because this is an area which keeps coming in a lot in exam paper. Examiner asking you something to analyze the current risk register. Examiner will give you the current risk of the company and will then ask you to assess the likelihood and impact of the risk on a given organization and what can be the best mitigation strategy. Risk register obviously is part of your syllabus. You should have an idea. If the examiner asks you to develop a risk register, how would you be developing a risk register? But in current scenarios, what we have seen in the past papers, a risk register is given, and on the basis of that, you need to evaluate the risk given in the register. Apart from risk, we know there is a lot of focus on technology and data analytics. Lots of questions do come from this syllabus area. An examiner asking you about e-commerce or e-marketing, or asking you about the big data or something like that. So that is another area where examiner is very regular. Obviously, you cannot undermine the importance of strategy. Strategy is a critical area. Strategy is a core area where the SBL has to come from, strategic business leader. So strategy has to make the more powerful impact. A lot of models, lots of theories behind strategy, which you should know: the external environment, the internal environment, assessing the macro environment, and lots of other models which goes down in making of the strategy, evaluating the strategies, the suitability, acceptability, and the feasibility model, etc. Now, the other areas, leadership, we see that coming a less in exam paper, but again, there is a new article which has come on responsible leadership, and I'll be speaking of that shortly. In terms of governance, a new article has come in, so you can expect something coming out of the new articles in the upcoming exam sitting. So I'll just be discussing that shortly, the impact of the new articles on your paper. But CDE is like a very powerful bunch of syllabus. Other areas, we are not undermining them, we're not impairing them. They do come in exams, they do come on a very regular basis exam. Just like the March-June exam, syllabus area H was very focused. So the March-June 22 paper, which I'll start to drill from tomorrow, has a very significant focus on syllabus area H. A big question on change management make an impact in the March-June 22 exam setting. So see, examiner can put anything. You need to have a good control on the syllabus. You need to know the models and theories and the main aspects of every syllabus area from A to H. Now, how would you revise that? How would you ensure every syllabus area and the models and the theories relevant from every syllabus area is on your fingertips? I'll give you the best way to revise that in the next 7 days shortly. Now, paper format is pretty simple. By now, you must be very clear with the paper format. With exams just a week away, you know that it is a 4-hour exam and you have one integrated case study. And that one integrated case study of 100 marks have something like 4, 5, or 6 tasks. So there might be 4 tasks, 5 tasks, or maximum 6 tasks, where examiner is asking for the requirements. And you need to link those requirements with 100 marks integrated case study. Now, 4 hours, the utilization of 4 hours, how you break them, how you understand them. Again, I'll be demonstrating that tomorrow and day after tomorrow in terms of a real exam. But I will also be giving you some tips and techniques today on that 4-hour breakup. We know there is, there is one case study, and that one case study is on 100 marks, where you have 80 technical marks and 20 professional marks given in the SBL exams. But it is extremely important that when you have a case study as big as an SBL case study, and if still a student is writing an answer which is generic, still a student is writing an answer which is journal, still a student is writing an answer which is out of the situation given in the case study, or the student is trying to relate more book in the answer rather than the case in the answer, this is a failure. When you have such a productive case study given in Exhibit 1, Exhibit 2, Exhibit 3, Exhibit 4, Exhibit 5, might be 6. Such a long case study, such a long story by the examiner, and you are ignoring that. You're still trying to bring the book. You're still trying to bring your theoretical knowledge. You're still trying to relate the book in your answer rather than adapting. The knowledge you have must be adapted in the context of the case study. If you're not adapting the knowledge in the context of the case study, which I will be demonstrating on day 2 and day 3, the eventual result is a failure. If the examiner is asking about advantages of big data and you're just writing the bookish advantages of big data without even thinking about what's happening in the case study about the big data, that's a failure. Or if the examiner is asking about a risk management strategy or evaluate the risk management strategy, and you generally wrote about transfer, acceptance, reduction, avoidance without even seeing what the management strategy is. Is the management transferring? Is the management accepting? Or what is the more realistic strategy in the context of a case study? So if you're just trying to put things in context, you just try to put things as it is from the book without even adapting them to the context of the business environment or the context of the organization or the context of the organizational situation given in the case study, that eventual result is a failure. It's not difficult to pass SBL provided you have a strong integration to the case study. Your answer is strongly linked to the case study. And that's something I will be speaking more of on the very first day of this webinar, because that's where I believe a certain number of students are weak at. So I'll be focusing on them again and again over the next 1 hour. You know there is a breakup of 80 technical marks and 20 professional marks, and the ability to gain the 20 professional marks hold success in SBL. Day 2 and day 3, I'll be very vocal on the 20 professional marks. Again, I will be reinforcing the 20 professional marks, even though I have guided about a technique in my June 22 webinar about the best way to gain the 20 professional marks. But still, if you're confused, I'll give you another way out for 20 professional marks, and you should aim at a very higher threshold out of the 20. And that's not difficult. Let me demonstrate that once I come to the day 2 and day 3 tomorrow. Time management in SBL. Honestly, to me, there is no time management issue in SBL when you have a 4-hour exam. And in that 4-hour, you can think about utilizing up to 60 minutes in reading and planning. Some students do read and plan even in 40 minutes, but some take 60. Now, you need to decide as a student that while you are practicing at home with a week remaining, and by now, what is an average time you're taking on reading and planning? Are you taking somewhere near 60 minutes, almost an hour, reading, planning, and understanding the case? Or you're taking 40, 45 minutes? Because then the remaining time will go to the writing. Now, if you're taking 60 minutes, you have 180 minutes to write. Or if you're taking 40 minutes, then you have 200 minutes to write. So you have a total 4-hour stretch. Now, what I will be demonstrating tomorrow and day after tomorrow on day 2 and day 3 is the reading and planning time very carefully, because 60 minutes of your investment has to give you some returns. If the investment is not giving you return, that is not a good investment. You are investing 60 minutes reading exhibits, reading requirements, annotating the case study, absorbing the case study. And after 1 hour, when you have to write, you are at zero. You don't know anything. You don't even know what was written in the case study. You don't even know which exhibit to use for which requirement. You even don't know what is the key information which I will be using in my answer. And you're starting from zero again. That happens with certain number of students. And that's a very bad way of going with reading and planning time. So the utilization of the first 60 minutes, the investment you are doing in the first 60 minutes really counts. And that's extremely important from an examination point of view. So I'll be guiding you about the best way you can read and plan. And in that 1 hour, how productively are you using the word processor? Because the more information you dump on a word processor, after 1 hour, the word processor should look filled up. And that will really help you translate the information on the word processor into your answer, because you have to organize the word processor for requirement 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And whatever information you get from the case study, when you're reading the case for requirement A, B, C, D, E, you'll just keep dumping that under those segregated areas on the word processor. And then you just need to rephrase. You just need to adapt your knowledge in the context of the information and produce such a good answer for your SBL paper. So I'll be guiding you about that. Don't worry about that. But you need to identify yourself. Are you a 40-minute student or a 60-minute student? You will spend 40 minutes so far on reading or planning, or 60. What's the scenario so far? And then according to that, you decide, will you have 180 minutes to write, or you have like 200 minutes to write? But honestly, 180 minutes for 80 marks or 200 minutes for 80 marks, that's huge. Because look at the scenario 1 and 2 on your screen. A scenario 1, 60 minutes, scenario 2, 40 minutes in terms of reading and planning time. One student, second student. Now, in a scenario 1, if you're taking 60 minutes to read, then you have 180 minutes to write, 80 technical marks. You're not allocating time for professional marks, right? You are allocating times only for the technical marks because you're answering the requirement. And while you're answering the requirement, the way you are writing the answer, the professional mark is part and parcel of that writing. You're getting 2.25 minutes per one single mark. And in that 2.25 minutes, you're not just blending the technical part, you're also ensuring that there is a professional reflection in your answer. Now, you're not doing any extra effort for a professional reflection in your answer. That's something very natural. And again, is something to be demonstrated, shown, and guided on the day 2 and day 3. But look at the amount of time, 2.25 minutes per mark. You can write a wonderful answer for 1 mark in 2.25 minutes. But if you are a scenario 2 student, you have 200 minutes with 80 technical marks, and you have 2.5 minutes per mark, which is much higher. Now, honestly, I believe with that 2.25 minutes or 2.50 minutes, that is increasing the expectation of the marking team. The marking team would not like to see a very weak answer when you have 2.25 minutes per mark. And if your answer quality for 1 mark demonstrate as if you have 1.50 minutes per mark, you're not being rewarded in the SBL paper. So you need to bring the quality of 2.25 minutes or 2.5 minutes per mark, and that's what I need to demonstrate tomorrow and day after tomorrow. But there is no time management issue. If a student says, I could not complete a paper, then you're very bad at time management, because we have more difficult time management papers in ACCA structure than the SBL paper. SBL is very organized and a very set paper where no time management issues should be reportable. I hope you're clear with the time allocations, right? And that's exactly what you should be following by now with your exams just 1 week away. And again, this comes more with reflection, and I'll be doing the reflection of this tomorrow and day after tomorrow. Okay, now comes to the main agenda. Exams a week away. Today's Monday, and I'm speaking with you in a webinar when next Tuesday on the 6th of September, you have your exams. Now, I understand these are nervous times. These are times when students start getting into the panic mode, into that exam stress mode. And this is a time when students starts to believe they don't know anything. And this is the time, when you need to keep yourself calm, compose, and organize, because this next 7 days is extremely important to bring your success in the SBL paper. Let's see what exactly you should be doing in the next 7 days ahead of your exams. First of all, a quick need of a self-appraisal. Sit down today in the next 1 hour after the webinar gets to an end and evaluate where are you standing today. What have you done? What is still remaining? Have you done with the knowledge part and you're still left with the practice part? Have you done with both, but you still need to expedite on the practice? Try to find where you are today, because every one of you is the best judge of yourself. You need to self-appraise yourself today, right after this webinar comes to an end. Where are you standing in terms of your exam preparation? You can do that today. And knowing where you are standing today and what is the fill in the blank, what is the vacuum, what you need to fill for the next 7 days to meet the expectation of your examining team. Now look ahead, you still have 7 days. How would you go about utilizing them? Consider your challenges, your constraints, and your obstacles for the next 7 days. Deduct them. See what is the net time you have to study for the next 7 days. Set a daily timetable, whether it's of 3 hours or 4 hours, minus your obstacles, constraints, or challenges. It could be more than 4 hours, depending upon you are a full-time student, but you have multiple papers to be given next week. See how much time net on a daily basis you can give to SBL, and then see in that time what best you can do. Suppose you can give 3 hours a day or 4 hours a day, then what best will you do in that 3 to 4 hours? Practice or something else? But again, I'll just be guiding you what looks good in the last 7 days. Must remember, more time on practice is crucial in the last week for you to pass. Again, this is not the time for books at all. Seriously, you should close your BPP and Kaplan. If you're reading it, put it on the table, open the past papers, go to the practice platform. This is the time for practice platform. This is the time of drilling questions on the platform. This is the time to spend with past papers. That is the only thing you are doing in the next 7 days. Let's find some good solutions for next 7 days ahead of your exams. I already shared this, I think few days ago before my webinar on my social media, including the WhatsApp group as well. But I just want to discuss this in a bit more detail, taking the opportunity of the webinar. Exam important resources for the next 7 days. Now, there might be a combination of students who will watch this webinar. My own students who have taken classes from me, or the self-study student who just rely on the webinar as a final reinforcement or as a final icing on the cake ahead of the exams. Webinars. I'll be just guiding you about those webinars shortly. New articles, syllabus changes, recent papers and examiner reports, and the Dr. Dino 100 series plus valuable resources. Next 7 days, self-appraise yourself. What have you done out of this? What is still remaining? Where I can put my time out of the 5 things I'm looking on my screen in the next 7 days. Where is my shortcoming? What I need to do? I'll be guiding you about the significance of every resource which is coming on your screen currently. Let's go one by one. Webinars first, right? 2 of them already conducted. December 21, June 22. In terms of priority, June 22 first, then December. So in terms of this has to be number 1, this has to be number 2. You don't have time, at least do the June 22. If you don't have time, at least do the June 22. Try to understand the definition of a professional mark. Try to understand what professional marks mean. Try to understand what you have to do for professional marks. Try to aim at 15 out of 20 professional marks. That's what is the message from this webinar. So try to understand how you can excel on the professional mark, how you can ensure you're getting the greater part of those 20 marks in your actual exam setting. So if you cannot watch both, at least try to watch the June 22 one along with the one you're going through, which is the September 22. But the webinars is just like a reinforcement, it's just like tips and techniques which can be really helpful. Yes, if you are my online student, my regular student, I would recommend watching 1. But if you are a self-study student, I would still prefer 2. You can just increase the speed at which the lectures are run from 1 to 1.5, so that ensures that lecture gets over a bit early. And I think at a speed of 1.5, it is quite easy to understand what the tutor is saying. The new article updates. 2 new articles are published by the SBL examining team in the month of August, and I've already uploaded stuff on them on both the articles. Responsible leadership from the syllabus area A and environmental and sustainable issues from syllabus area B. Watch the videos on the new articles at this link, which is right here. You can just type this link in the web browser and reach the destiny. I've just shortened the link so it's easier for you to type and get through. The presentation slides and the resources will be shared on the Google Drive. I'll just be guiding you about that. So all what you're looking at on your screen will come to you because it's for you, not for me. Now listen to me something very careful here. 2 articles and their examinability. I believe that if you look at both the articles, responsible leadership, and you look at the article on environmental and sustainability issue, we are talking about something beyond shareholders. That's the central idea of both the articles. We are talking about something beyond shareholder. We are talking about wider stakeholder getting involved in decision making. We are talking about that normative philosophy of running a business. We are talking about the changing mindsets of the director, not just focused on shareholder. Or we're talking about the leader mindset changing from a short-term wealth of a shareholder to a long-term wealth of a shareholder, and knowing the fact that you cannot increase the long-term wealth of the shareholder till the time you have a sustainable business model in place. With so many climatical risk rising, so many unfriendly environmental practices taking place around the world, with the global warming on the rise, we know the sustainability issues is the big challenge for the business leaders today. And if the business leader is not adopting a sustainable business model, the long-term sustainability and the long-term wealth of the shareholder is at a big question mark. So if you are an intelligent leader and you are a responsible leader, you need to understand the time you are in, and you need to understand the challenges of this time, where obviously the environmental issues and the environmental degradation, the climatical risk is on the rise, which is something to be addressed by the organizational leaders. So sustainability practices, doing something good for planet, the CSR practices, defining your normative approaches. You know, there are so many theories in your SBL paper, like the Gray-Owen Adam, the ethical stances of Gray-Owen Adam. Such things looks likely. There might be a question around sustainability, environment. There could be a question on integrated reporting, because that's how you report on environmental and sustainability issue. We know integrated reporting is a very critical question in your past papers. An examining team loves that. So 6 capitals, primarily information more about the social and relationship capital, or the environmental capital comes more in the case study. Something around the ethical models like Gray-Owen Adams, something like the normative models, a case study where you have some environmental issues and sustainable problems, and you need to play a role of a leader addressing or making a PowerPoint presentation or writing a report, something like that. So there is nothing new in these articles. It's the theme of SBL. Beyond shareholders, long-term wealth of shareholders, incorporating different stakeholders in decision-making, looking at the long-term sustainable business models, etc. You know, there are different models like environmental footprints, ecological footprints in our syllabus. We have integrated reports in our syllabus. So that's quite a common phenomena. So with these articles coming in, that just show what is the examining team thinking of. The examining team is thinking about the issues of the present time, and the issues of the present time is right in front of your screen. So please do watch the articles, play them if you have not yet played them. Try developing your notes and try making a central idea. I'll be sharing my Google Drive with you, where the resources, whatever presentations I have used, whatever notes I have used for these new articles will be available. You just need to watch them, and rest of the content I'll be sharing with you. So new articles, and please expect there is an expectation of something around the new articles in the upcoming exam. So you cannot just underweigh them or impair their importance for September 22 exams. Syllabus changes. These are not syllabus changes for September 22. Look at this word. It's not 22, it's 21. But why am I putting them here? These are syllabus changes which were brought from September 21 exams. And you are preparing for September 22 exams. That's not like a big variance. It's just like 1 year under 1 year. Are you aware of those changes? Are you aware what has been deleted from the syllabus and what has been added to the syllabus? I have put this video 1 year ago on my YouTube channel when these changes came in. So please to watch this video. Link is here about the changes. Be sure what is off, what is on. I hope you all know the Tucker 5-question model is no more in the syllabus. The ALARP, ALARP is no more in the syllabus. 4-line of defense is a model which has been brought into the risk management. I've already made a video on that 4-line of defense, which is available at this link. So it's not just the changes, it's also if anything new has come in, that new has already been recorded 1 year ago and is available on my YouTube channel. Shabna, I believe that there should not be a list of articles to read at this point in time. In the last 7 days, what I'm trying to tell you, focus on that. There is already 2 articles to read. Remaining articles, remaining technical articles, I think I've given a list of like 23, 24 articles if you've watched my June 22 webinar. But again, that's a self-appraisal. If any student at this point in time believe I have to go into articles, you need to find the weak area. Which area you are weak in? Syllabus area A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So in which area you are weak, you will open the articles of that area. I hope you're clear with that. Suppose you're weak in syllabus area H. So you'll go and open the articles for syllabus area H and read them in the next 7 days. So it's not about reading all, it's humanly impossible. And I think in the 7 days remaining, there is a lot to do in terms of refinement. So probably a long list of articles at this point in time looks a bit useless. Okay, so we were discussing the syllabus changes, right? So you should be familiar with syllabus changes, which came from September 21. And more importantly, you should know what has been added, what has been deleted. In terms of risk management, there is a 4-line of defense model. Please do watch a video of that, which is right at this link, and that should be absorbed in your mind because examiner might use the terminology 4-line of defense and you might be confused in exam paper from where it has come from. So please ensure that you are better equipped with syllabus changes. Is everyone clear so far, so forth? Before I proceed further, in just 1 minute, if you can drop your messages in the chat box. Are you clear so far with things being discussed and informed to all of you? Are you sound with it? Are you thinking about doing a self-appraisal today and making a timetable for the next 7 days? Okay, and is this session benefiting you in terms of just a reinforcement and just like a motivation you needed at this time? Okay, that's great. Okay, moving further. Recent papers. Now, I believe at this point in time, when you are just left with 7 days, the priority has to be the 3 here. 3. Look at the 3. That is it. You can make one of them your mock exam. You can say, okay, I'll do one of them on Monday. I'll do one of them on Sunday. Make them one as your mock exam and do the remaining 2 over the next 5 days and keep one for the last day, Monday. When you are doing this paper, do them on the practice platform. Practice platform. When you are doing this paper, write the answer, full answer. Read. I will be guiding you tomorrow, right? How to read, how to plan, how to write. On that basis, do the papers, complete papers, 3 of them. And with the examiner report, I'll be showing you how productively you can read, how productively you can identify the issues from the examiner report. So I'll be making use of this latest examiner report tomorrow, the June 22 examiner report, which is now in front of your screen, which is a 14-page report. And imagine what examiner has written on 14 pages. Weaker students, stronger students, you should not do this, you should do this, this was bad, this was good. And you keep picking that up from 14 pages. That will really enhance the quality of the answer you are writing on Tuesday in your real exam. But if you ignore these examiner reports and you go to the exam hall, you will be repeating the same problem which the examiner team is criticizing on these 14 pages. So instead of regretting, instead of getting a failure, it's better to read and put time on these 14 pages. I'll be putting time on these 14 pages over the next 2 days, because drilling of these examiner reports will open your mindset. And then you will say, okay, my tutor has done the March, June 22 report. So on that basis, I'll be doing the reports for September, December 21, and I'll be doing the reports for March, June 21. My tutor has guided me how to do a March, June 22 paper. And on that basis, I'll do the September, December 21 and March, June 21. Now, you must have done them by now. That's quite fine. But can you learn something out of that? Can you learn some good techniques tomorrow and day after tomorrow? Can you just identify some good points which can give you extra marks in your upcoming exams? You need to identify that what incremental tips are you getting over the next 3 days? What incremental opportunities you're getting for boosting your marks in the upcoming exams? That's extremely important. And if this 3-day session can improve your mark spread by 5 to 10, isn't that wonderful for all of you? So if the 3 days can bring an incremental impact of even 10 marks to your overall SBL, isn't that good for all of you? So whatever extra you learn over the next 3 days, please put them down on a piece of paper. What extra you gain, put them down on a paper. What extra you think, oh, we were not doing this and the tutor guided us to do this, try to do it. So whatever extra you get out of the next 72 hours of this stretch of webinar, 3 days, try to implement that. Right? So 3 recent papers plus the examiner report. And when I start to drill them tomorrow, marking schemes, technical aspects, professional aspects, reading the questions, reading in planning time, using the word processor, using the response option, I'll be discussing a lot about the total paper. And you will be amazed, it's not just a paper, it's about an approach to tackling a paper, which comes in the next 2 days. Okay, so recent papers versus examiner reports, next 7 days. Important resources, including Dr. Dinu. Now, I prefer, I think Shabna asked me a question, reading examiner articles over the next 7 days. The 2 you have to read, the 2 recent ones, right? But I prefer that I'll be sharing my Google Drive with you, where Dr. Dino is available as a PDF format. Look at these page numbers. These are critical page numbers. As much you can read in the next 7 days, do read them. If you've read some of them, good. If you have not, try to read as many as possible. There might be many, but they are important. I think the best way to revise a syllabus and the best way to take command of syllabus area A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and the best way to take command on the models, theories you have in your syllabus, the best way is Dr. Dinu 100 series. It's such an effective summary of the key terms, the models, the application of models, just memorizing them, just putting them in your head. This is the best way to go through. So I believe next 7 days, no BPP, no Kaplan, no technical articles, except for the 2 new articles. You are sitting down with the Dr. Dinu 100 series, the PDF, and reading through these page numbers. 7 done, 13 done, 14 done, 15 done, 16 done, 17 done. Some are ranges, 29 to 36, that's a range. 37 to 80, that's a range. I've skipped some page numbers. If something has been deleted from the syllabus, I've skipped that page number. So is that important, Dr. Dinu 100 series? Do you realize how many of you have read or have read or are reading this Dr. Dinu 100 series? Can you please tell me with a yes or no answer? How many of you are reading it or have read it with, can you respond with a yes answer? And has it benefited you in terms of some retention and understanding? That's a more important thing. Okay, that's great. Sarah is saying she has been reading or has done with reading. Okay, Kavish is saying I've started. That's good. But is it benefiting? Is it something beneficial? Okay, reading currently, that's good. So is it beneficial? Is it benefiting you? That's great, because I believe the amount of information and in a concise manner, the information given in the Dr. Dinu 100 series is wonderful. And to me, if you are taking an online lectures, or even if you're doing a self-study, the Dr. Dinu 100 series is the base document where you say, okay, I'll not go into the books, but the Dr. Dinu 100 series is a document I'll hold up. Okay, great. Next, importance of effective communication in SBL. An article looking into the key formats for SBL paper. That's all on my Google Drive, right? So everything I'm discussing, I'll share a Google Drive with you, and you click and you find everything on the Google Drive, right? Including my presentations of the new article and everything. And my presentation you're looking in front of your screen currently. So you can take the hyperlinks from this as well. So you will get the complete resources. Importance of effective communication in SBL. This is an article which looks into the format, and this was published in September 2018 when the paper was introduced for the first time. So this is a wonderful article which tells us about formats, the key formats to use in the SBL paper, even though you can learn the formats from the examiner answer, because if you're attempting a past paper and you're stuck at a format, you can just go and see what is the way to put a format in the answer. So you can learn from examiner answer. But again, this is the source document. I always recommend, even in my previous webinar, this is must. 10 key things to learn from SBL September 2018 setting. The first one, you can still spend 1 hour on this on Sunday or Monday, just to ensure, okay, these are the 10 key learnings from the very first exam sitting. Is there something in this 10 key things which I am not doing, or I am doing, but it is wrong? So 10 things, if you just spend 2 minutes on each one of them, 20 minutes, and those 20 minutes are valuable investment. So 10 things to learn from the very first sitting. And I think this is the article which tells us to put headings and subheadings, not to repeat information. One maximum length of a paragraph is not more than 3 to 4 sentences long. Such things came out of this article because this was the very first learning for the examining team when the actual September 18 exams were conducted. So 7 days on hand and plenty to go about. If we just do a quick recap, webinars, new articles, syllabus changes, recent papers, and examiner report, and the Dr. Dinu 100 series plus valuable resources. Self-appraise yourself where you are. If you have done all of them, wonderful. Sit back, relax, do the practice. If you are left with something, then make a timetable and start doing it, because every student will be different if you start doing your self-appraisal today after the webinar. Okay, now few of the last important things, because tomorrow and day after tomorrow, we have an exciting session where drilling comes in, where more information comes in about technical and professional aspects of the paper, which I believe is something more important. This is the resources at one place. You can just, I'll share the presentation with you, but it's easy. You can type it on your browser and you reach the resources. I just want to show you these resources for 1 minute, because if you go to this link, you will enter the Google Drive. Just let me show you that Google Drive. Okay, you enter the Google Drive. I hope you can see that on your screen now. Can you please confirm? SBL WTS September 22 by Kashif Kamran. There are 3 days, first, second, third, right? If you go to the day 1 folder, because today is the day 1. So you click on the day 1, and inside the day 1, you will find the key document and resources, right? And you click on the key document and resources, and you get everything done here. You get the new articles, the new article, and the presentation of the new article, right? You get the formats, the third one. Formats is the formats published by the SBL examining team. Key things to learn, 10 key things to learn. Responsible leadership article, responsible leadership presentation, which I've done. SBL examiner report for March, which I will be utilizing over the next 2 days. And the Dr. Dinu 100 series is all here. I will be putting my presentation over here as well after the webinar, and you can also access my presentation for the day 1. So this is extremely important, right? And this examiner report comes in focus tomorrow. I hope you can see that on your screen now. Currently, the examiner report, which is extremely important. And this is something which becomes the central idea of the next 2 days. Look at this screen in front of you and look at this March-June 22 exam right here, which I will be interacting with you. Ideally, 2 hours or 2.5 hours tomorrow, and 2.5 hours day after tomorrow, something like 4.5 hours. really sorry, 4.5 hours or 5 hours on this and trying to get the best results from this case study on the Yexmerin company. I hope you're fine with that, right? So this is just an overview of things to come in. But again, just before I wind up my day one, I just need to spend good 10 minutes with you before I start my day two tomorrow. Try to understand one thing realistically. The success in the SBL paper lies in your answer connection with the case study. And that's the central idea where we have to move on in the next 2 days. You need to understand the absorption of the information, which is plenty. And that absorption and that refinement over the 1 hour time period, you read, you understand, you pick up the key sentences and you dump those key sentences on the word processor. Now, you're not dumping the paragraphs and chunk of information on your word processor. That's wrong. That copy paste is not allowed. But you like a sentence and you believe, oh, this sentence can become an advantage. Oh, this sentence can become a risk management strategy. You copy and paste under the relevant parts in the word processor. Because after 1 hour of reading, you're dumping information on the word processor, and that word processor is becoming a summary, refinement of the information. And that's where the 3 hour of the reflection, that's where the 3 hours of the reflection time starts in. How would you write? So if you have the refinement of information on the word processor, you are better positioned to utilize the reflection time in the best manner. So using the word processor alongside reading the exhibits, it's critical, because how good the word processor looks after 1 hour results in your success. And if the word processor is empty, you have not much information on a word processor after 1 hour, you're blank. Honestly, you are blank. How can you retain the case study till the time you're not dumping the critical aspects on the word processor? Because the moment you're dumping, that is going here, that is going here. The moment you are annotating, it's going here. Without that, it cannot. So you need to understand the importance of that. So my conclusion for success in AAA lies just in one sentence. Answer connected to the case study. I always say absorb the case. I always say adapt the situation, adapt the requirement. If the requirement is about Menlo metrics, you're not reproducing the Menlo model. You are trying to find the stakeholders within the case study. You're trying to evaluate the power and interest of the stakeholder. And you're trying to find what is the best strategy to manage them. If you get a question on macro environment, you're not just reproducing the whole pestle model. You are just trying to find out of the pestle what is present in the case. There might be only P, E, S, only 3. And the examiner is just making a case on PES. So you just need to formulate your macro environment around PES, not the other 3. You cannot dump the whole model. You cannot dump the Porter diamond. You cannot dump the other models, right? In like the full form. You first need to see how much information is available. If the question comes on integrated reporting, there will not be 6 capitals in the scenario. If there are, then write all 6. But if there are not 6 capitals, there are only 4. You cannot forcefully write the other 2 on the basis of the book knowledge. That's a very bad answer. So adaptation, absorption, synchronization to the case study is extremely important. So any student who synchronize, who blend the answer with the case study, who absorb the case study in the answer, who connects the answer with the case study. Look at these terminologies: connect, synchronize, blend. You embed the case study in your answer. I cannot use more synonyms than that. But I believe these terminologies are all understandable. Embedding, synchronizing, adapting, blending. That's where the best answer in SBL can come from, right? So I believe this is extremely important. So if any student holds these jargons that I need to embed my answer with a case study, my case study has to embed in my answer, my case study has to get absorbed in my answer, my case study has to get blended in my answer, you're getting success. 100 marks case study, and you didn't utilize even 1/4 of that in your answer. What's the use? Ask a question to yourself. 1/4 of the case study is not even reflected in your answer. What's the benefit? What's the usage of the SBL paper? But if 3/4 of the case study is reflected in your answer, you are successful. You're among the 50% students who pass the SBL paper. I hope you're clear with that. So that's what we need to learn tomorrow and day after tomorrow. That's what we need to discuss tomorrow and day after tomorrow. That's the agenda. So I'll not be taking much of your time today. The purpose today was just to introduce this webinar, just to introduce the resources of this webinar, and just to give you the right direction, right? So I'll be seeing you back with the day 2 tomorrow, and a very critical day. I'll be putting the timetable in the next couple of hours, the timetable for day 2. Wish you all a very best of luck. And thank you so much for joining the live session at a very short notice. And my prayers, my well wishes are all with my students, whether they are my online students, self-study students who are connected with me. I wish you all success for your upcoming SBL exams. I hope this session worked as a motivation for you, right? And I hope it did. Can you just give me a quick short feedback of the session today? The purpose was to boost your confidence. The purpose was to just increase the spark and enthusiasm among all of you, right? And I hope I served the purpose. Thank you so much. It was long overdue to talk to you. It was long overdue to had a session on the webinars with all of you, because I was extremely busy with my AAA webinars before. Then obviously I had to start this today anyhow. So thank you so much all. Thank you so much all so very much for being into the session. I'll see you back tomorrow, and I'll be putting the timetable a couple of hours before the day 2 tomorrow. So whenever the day 2 is taking place, I'll be informing you at least 4 to 5 hours in advance so you can plan accordingly. But expect them to come in about evening time, same as like today. Thank you so much. Wish you success. Your tutor Kashif Kamran signing off from the day 1 of the SBL webinar to success. And on your screen, you can see the day 2, which commences tomorrow. Goodbye. Take care, and Allah Hafiz. The recording comes on the YouTube and on the WhatsApp group.